Yes.
It's technology and young learners. It's a very hot topic, I think, among early childhood educators and parents of young children, and any staff working in early education.
Definitely, and also among parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's get moving forward. All right, so we decided to start today discussing about the common concerns that teachers and parents might have towards technology with young students. So let's start with the first question. So we get, when we talk with teachers, a lot of this kind of feedback that digital tools might be harmful for young students. So what are your opinions, Saga, on this topic?
Well, I've been looking into that quite a lot because, of course, we do use digital tools in Moomin Language School. And as Anu said, we do get a lot of questions about this, and there's a lot of opinions out there, of course, and kind of wariness and fear because of this. But generally speaking, digital tools are not harmful for children when we use them in moderation, and we take a few things into consideration. So of course, when we are talking about young children, we are always, the younger the children, the more holistic their kind of experience of life is, and all the different aspects of their life play into what affects them. So there are things to consider. For example, the children's sleep. How much sleep are they getting? So as long as there's enough sleep, as long as there is enough playtime outside of the digital tools or the technology. So, playing outside, playing with friends, as long as there's enough meaningful time with the parents and the caregivers, and enough exercise, as long as the diet is good. When all of this is taken into consideration, then digital tools are really not harmful for children, and they can really be helpful in helping them learn these different skills that we as early educators often want them to learn. So often, of course, when we talk about screen time, for example, there's always this fear that, children are losing their concentration, and they can't focus on anything and things like that. But that usually, when we talk about that, and any research that's done into that, usually talks about hours of use every day. And I'm sure a lot of you as well have noticed that if you're scrolling on your Instagram and stuff like that, hours and hours on end, that does have an effect. But if we're using these tools for a little bit of time, it's not really bad, and it, as said, can be helpful. So that's why having a time limit for that is very important. And actually, the World Health Organization a couple of years ago gave a recommendation or sort of guidelines for the times
young students.
Yeah, so for young children, how long they should be using, how long their sort of screen time should be. So they said that for children under the age of 2, no screen time, and then children from 3 or under the age of 5, the daily screen time recommendation was 1 hour, which, when you consider how young the children are, is actually quite a lot. So you can really fit a lot into that if you're following that. So using these kinds of digital tools is still possible. And of course, it varies a lot from child to child, how long they want to use them and how long they can concentrate.
Yeah, it depends on their attention span. And this is something that we have considered also here at Moomin Language School. So in our applications, we do have a time limit because of this reason as well. So it's a safe way to introduce the technology to children.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move forward then. One common fear might be also that are these devices now replacing the teachers?
Yeah.
This is important, very important question.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of teachers fear this. Um, our opinion or our take on this question is that no, tablets and technology definitely is not replacing teachers. I know there's been articles of people saying like, oh, AI is coming and teachers are, not needed anymore. I don't think that's ever going to happen. There's so much that teachers can do that technology cannot. So technology is rather the assistant to the teacher, and it can help teachers then focus on building these relationships with the children and focusing on the things that the technology can't really teach, like communication with other individuals, this kind of empathy and sensitivity to differences. So teachers are definitely still needed. They're not being replaced.
Yeah, maybe the role it is changing a bit, but with the very young students, I see that these devices will never ever replace the teacher. And here in Moomin Language School, when we are providing innovation and digital tools, the teacher's role in making the magic happen is extremely important.
Yeah. Tablets cannot give children hugs. Teachers can.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So also one common question from parents might be also that, okay, if our kindergarten is using or our training centers are using digital devices, are they going to learn actually anything?
Yeah, I think this is especially the case when we're talking about educational games and like applications and things like that, because they are often seen as entertainment. And so people are worried that that's all the children are doing. Of course, educational tools, whatever the tool is, still need to have an educational and pedagogical design backing them. And when we think about children, play, all kinds of play is really the way that children learn. So I think framing it as, well, is it, if they're playing, are they learning? It's kind of pitting play and learning against each other, whereas those are actually, in a young child's world, those are the same thing. But again, as said, any kind of educational game or a tool needs to have a solid plan behind it to make sure that that learning does happen.
And also something that people should, and teachers especially, take a look at when they are selecting a tool is that who are the people behind designing this product. Like when we have a product for early education, are there any early educators participating in the product development, and what's kind of expertise there is behind the service? I think that's important thing to mention as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so me myself, I'm a parent as well, so I have like gone through this question several times, as well as many teachers and other parents as well. So what about the content? If we look at very young students, so what do we need to consider about the content we provide for them? What kind of a content would be suitable for very young children?
Yeah, well, it definitely depends a lot on the child's age. If we're talking about really young children, or if we're talking about children who are already in school, but they're still sort of counted to this early learning field, their interests are a little different. But basically, it is, the content should have to do with what the children are interested in and what their sort of immediate surrounding is like. So often with kindergarten children, the topics have to do with things that we do in kindergartens, routines, what we talk about there, toys, going out to play in the field, these kinds of things. And it's also important that the content is structured so that the children don't need to use it for an extensive amount of time consistent, like at the same time, so that there is this time limit and it's in small enough chunks that children can kind of finish a piece of content in a short amount of time. And also, of course, when we are talking about young kids, no ads should be there. There shouldn't be anything where they can kind of go into like web shops or anything like that, or any kind of violence or substance use or anything like that. So of course, that's quite clear, but it's always good to pay attention to that as well when looking at content.
Yeah, and the role, what kind of role the child is when they are going through the content, or is it a passive role? Are they just watching a video content, for example, or is the material actively pushing forward?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly what the child's role there is the child able to interact with the content and kind of direct also the learning. I had an idea, but now I lost it. There's something else I wanted to add. Yes, also when we're talking about young kids, how much text is there? Because young children, they can't read, or they might just be learning how to read. So if the content is based on reading and understanding text, it's probably not that suitable for the young kids.
All right, so we have listed these concerns, what we feel that are the most common between the teachers and parents that we have been communicating with. If you have other suggestions, please do add that to the Q&A section. Also, because we are running these webinars on a monthly basis, we also handle the same topics. So if there's something that we don't cover here, please do share it with us so we can consider next time. So let's jump to the next slide. So now we are going to talk about the actual benefits that these digital tools can provide for young students.
Yeah, so as said at the beginning, when we take certain things into consideration, the digital tools are not harmful for children and can, in fact, be really helpful in teaching them. So they can bring many benefits to the children, but also to teachers. So maybe one of the biggest benefits for the teacher is that the tools can work as a teacher's assistant. So they can offer these things that maybe the teacher can't. Some programs might be teaching skills to the students that the teacher might not feel confident and comfortable teaching. So then using these kinds of digital tools and technology can offer that, especially in terms of programs. And then tools, or like digital tools, digital games, they tend to be fun for the children, and even activities that you would usually do on sort of paper basis, when they are transformed into the digital format, suddenly it's very interesting to the students. So in this way, it can also help sort of maintain the motivation and make it more, in a way, more fluid, also the learning.
Yeah, and I remember when we started the company and our kind of, we have had the passion from the very beginning to support children when they have this sensitivity period for language learning. So the first feedbacks that we started to get from the children was that this is the highlight of the day in the kindergarten if they are using the service there.
Yeah, and this kind of fun way of learning whatever the content is. It also helps to give the sort of repetition that is needed for learning, because we tend to not learn things very well if we just hear them once, and especially when we're talking about young kids. But then through this kind of fun activities, children do get that repetition, but it doesn't seem like repetition. It's not like sort of mindlessly repeating words, for example, when it comes to language. And of course, when we're in this situation in which we are right now with the COVID and all of that, digital tools are really helpful with the distance learning that the world sort of collectively was forced to adopt pretty much overnight. That's very helpful for that as well.
Yeah. So but maybe one thing that I want to mention about this, like as a teacher's assistant, so when we talk about Moomin Language School, it is especially beneficial for the teachers, because with our learning application, we provide the vocabulary, grammar, and also individual pronunciation model to each child. So the teacher's role is again a bit different. The teacher facilitates that playful social interaction where the children can play together and communicate and collaborate. So the teachers don't need to teach the vocabulary actually. So it's also like helping the teachers to be better at their work as well. That's the feedback that we are getting from our amazing teachers.
In that way, the teachers can focus on building those connections with the students that can't be done with a digital tool. And then, of course, one really good thing about digital tools is that they often give this instant feedback. So, and often after each task, which speeds up the learning, and it makes the learning more motivating also for the students when they can immediately see how things are going. And of course, when we're talking about young kids, the feedback needs to be gentle and guiding the children to the right answers, but it's still kind of helping them when they're making the mistakes or whatnot. They're getting the feedback immediately so they can apply that information. Because if we compare to sort of traditional classroom teaching, if you have homework, you do your homework, and then maybe a couple of days later you have your lesson, you've probably forgotten why you made the certain choices in the homework that you did, and it kind of takes a bit more time to kind of get back on track with that.
Yeah, the learning is much more effective when you learn when you are practicing there and then immediately when you make an answer. So definitely that's one benefit of the digital tools.
Yeah, and in kind of keeping with the instant feedback or feedback in general, digital tools can also keep track of what the children are doing. So then they can provide this sort of progress tracking or progress reports also then to the teachers, so the teachers can see what is going on and what the children are doing and how they are doing. So it kind of helps the teacher also there. And one good thing that also we get a lot of feedback on is this kind of stress-free learning environment that the digital tools can provide, because children are very different, of course, from each other, and especially those children who are very shy, who might feel anxious in groups or even in one-on-one situations with a teacher. This kind of fear of talking to another person is removed when we're using digital tools, especially when they're used individually. So it's just the child and the application. That's, no one is kind of eavesdropping on what you're doing. You're just practicing on your own. And this way kind of prepares the child to then working in a group and kind of using those skills there. So they first get to practice on their own.
And this is a constant feedback that we get from our teachers, is that also the shyest children are getting more confidence in using the language in the social situation when they have their time alone practice first, so that when they go to this social situation, they already have the vocabulary. So it's not totally like, it's not that uncomfortable for them then.
Yeah, exactly. Also, digital tools help in teaching these ICT skills and kind of technological literacy, if you will. And I do think that those are very important skills to learn, because these days we do use digital tools and technology a lot. And in my opinion, when we have, I'm sure you've seen these news articles and all of that about, oh, teenagers can't concentrate anymore, or things like that because of social media and all of that. To me, it's not a problem of social media per se. It's a problem of not knowing how to use it properly. And these are the kinds of skills that we can teach children and we can teach our teenagers. But it's best learned, again, when we start, when they are young. So this way, when we're using the digital tools, again, a little bit with the young kids, they slowly start learning how to use digital tools, and also learning how to use them for learning purposes as well, and not just for entertainment.
Yes, so last but not least thing, the time is running, oh my God. So this is an important and interesting topic, so the time flies. But especially with language education, I think digital tools provide something that book can never provide. So support for the pronunciation, the children can listen the native speakers and practice their own individual pronunciation.
Yeah, so this is like all kinds of technology, especially, is very good for this, and we do need technology for it. So especially for teachers who are not so comfortable with their own pronunciation or their language skills, they can supplement their own teaching with audio material from other sources, from these digital tools. So this way, then the teachers don't need to be native speakers of the language when they're teaching. Yeah.
All right, so actually we only have a couple of minutes left anymore. So few things, if you are not familiar with Moomin Language School, I would like to very quickly introduce our product. So we provide a learning application for children to be used individually. It's an amazing tool to build up vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. We also provide playful lesson plans for teachers so that they can facilitate this kind of social fun, playful language learning session with children. We have a very unique learning method, which is a combination of language immersion, spaced learning, Finnish education, and flipped classroom. If you want to know, please do contact us, and we are happy to meet you. We do a lot of research, or with our product, we have been, third parties have been doing research with our service. We are very proud of the results. In one result, we produce 18% better learning outcomes compared to books. So that's also one part of which shows that digital tools are, when used properly, a great way to support children. And we have very expert team. We have early childhood educators in our team. We have language teachers, linguists, and people with background in technology. Me, myself, I've been in digital language education business for 15 years. And we are very passionate about what we do here. And this is just a quick pedagogy overview, how the children will develop in our 7-level curriculum. Yes. So we are ending the session now, and after the
Shall we
webinar,
take some questions?
do we have time?
Let's see. Hold on.
Let's see what we
stop share.
Okay. So I'm very happy that you joined to our session today. Thank you for our own guest speaker, Saga.
Thank you very much.
It was very lovely to listen to your expertise today. And I hope you all will have a good day, good week, and hope to see you soon again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.